Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's blog post. Another solid week in the industry. Really getting encouraging signs with the number of pre-approvals that my clients seem to be getting and putting together. Credit quality looks stronger than it has in quite some time. People are really excited about engaging the market. Some people coming in for the first time, other people who 6, 8 months ago were in the market, got out of the market, decided to come back the first of the year. So there's really a lot of really good activity going on, and I'm really happy about that. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and I speak to my clients about this a lot, is about understanding how important that first contact is, that first communication, the first time you speak to that client. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. How you handle that first interaction with the client is going to vastly impact your conversion rates. And why is that important? Well, a lot of people don't pay attention to things like conversion rates, but conversion rates are, improving that conversion rate even by a little bit is like finding free money. You work so hard to generate an opportunity that not paying attention to what your conversion rates are and the where people fall out of the system, and it really is important that conversion rates. We talk a lot about that in the business planning piece of the coaching program. And the scary part that I find is that there's a lot of people, way too many originators, but even some managers and some companies don't either track the information or realize the importance of this information, much less put any time or effort into, reviewing it and taking steps trying to improve it. But, you've already done the hard part, getting that customer to reach out. And so focusing a little bit on the conversion rates and potentially where you may be losing people is really important. And as far as, I'm concerned, tracking those conversion rates and where they drop off from initial contact, pre-approval, contract, and of course, closings are really important. But I think what goes wildly underestimated is the sheer number of times that you lose an opportunity because of that initial conversation, because of the way that initial contact worked, that either not setting the stage properly or having the right conversation and directing that person on how they're going to succeed can really impact your business. And I think it's important that we look at this and that you look at it and say, one of the things that we can do is really brush up on our initial conversation and what are the things that we're saying, how do we say them, how do we set the stage, how do we create expectations. And so like the questions or the key factors that you really must address in that first conversation is first and foremost, how did they come to call you, right? What marketing did you do? What referral partner? I can't tell you the sheer number of people who forget that first question should be, how'd you come to call me? After that, it becomes pretty methodical to the extent that we all know what we need for a successful outcome. You know the answer to these questions, but that person calling you, that person you're speaking to may not. And so setting that stage, starts off by making them feel comfortable and putting them into a position where they feel heard. And so what I often tell my clients to do is really just to tell them is, look, take 5 minutes and share with me what you're looking to accomplish, right? Because is it a purchase? Is it an investment property? Is it a second home? Are we selling something? Are we buying something? Particular type of property, location, whatever it is. But give them five and tell them, take 5 minutes and please share with me what you're trying to do. so that you have some idea the framework and the path that you have to take. And I think after that 5 minute, conversation about them telling you what they're trying to do, you have to ask them very specifically, are you looking for specific information to your situation, or are you just trying to collect generic information about that situation in general? And that's really important, because if the client is just shopping, if the client is just looking for background, whatever, those things, are a rat hole that you can get driven down. And I strongly suggest that, you are prepared for what happens if the client just is looking for generic information. But if that client wants specific information to them, now you've got to set the stage. You've got to set the expectation and the framework by how they succeed. Based upon what they shared with you, then you get to go back and share with them the specific documentation that you're going to need to review to figure out what this all looks like. And again, at this point, this client may be very comfortable with beginning the application process. This customer may not be comfortable beginning an application process at all and would want to continue the conversation after you've seen their documentation so that you can go down the path of a pre-approval. But if you're not setting the stage as to what the benefits are to that client for going through this process, if you don't share with them that, in a competitive marketplace, your offer getting accepted is going to be contingent on a number of different things. And among them is, who's your competition? Who else is bidding against you on that property? And for the person, obviously it would be great if, everybody was a cash buyer, but we all know we'd be out of business if that were the case. Most people are going to use a loan of some sort to make that happen. Well, based upon that, how set you are on that loan, a fully documented pre-approval, hands down, is golden versus somebody who went online and got a quick pre-qual. So it's really important, but you've got to explain that to the customer, that by having your fully documented pre-approval, you're light years ahead of the client who hasn't taken the steps to supply the documentation necessary to get to this stage. And so setting that stage and saying, okay, here are the documents we're going to need. Can I have that by, Monday at 2 o'clock, or, Wednesday at 9 a.m. or Thursday at, 3? Because the reality of it is you have to tell them, once I get that documentation, I can review it. I can get back to you as to what your options are going to be. And then we can put together your pre-approval letter and I can send it to you and give it to your agent, so that you're in the best possible position when you go out to look at property to make your best offer, your strongest offer, so that you don't find the house of your dreams and then lose it because you didn't supply the documentation necessary to get that fully documented pre-approval, and you lose that house to somebody who did. And so it's really important to not only set that expectation, let them know what's necessary, clear that hurdle, get it out of the way, because nobody wants to be chasing that paperwork at the end of the deal anyway. So you might as well get it at pre-approval. The other part is when you come to that agreement, and we've shared before the 3 agreements, right? What action needs to be taken, who's responsible to do it, when will it be done by? We've talked about this in the past. So once we come to that conclusion, is when. The when is the key part. I'll follow up with you Thursday at 2 o'clock. I'll follow up with you on Friday at 10 a.m., whatever it is. And then it's very simple. You can send them an email confirming the information that's necessary, and when you need it back by and when you're going to follow up. And then it's easy for you to put into your schedule to make that follow-up or to check for that paperwork. And then last but not least is when you're done with that conversation, you've got that follow-up appointment to call that referral partner and say, hey, I just spoke to your clients, blah, blah, blah. Here's the situation. This is what we're doing. This is when I plan on following up. This is what they said. Here's how it works. Because it's really important to keep everybody in the loop. And it's going to save you time, because if you don't reach out and make that conversation, then that referral partner is going to sit around waiting, wondering whether or not you ever spoke to that client. It's faster just to reach out, have that conversation, and share with what happened. So it's really important to understand the value of that first initial contact. It's really important that that client feel heard. It's very important that you set the expectations and give them the why things are done the way that you lay them out there, because it gives them the best possible opportunity to win the deal, as best they can, because they're fully prepared to make that offer, the best offer that they can make, if they need to, fully understanding what it is that they're getting into without there being a surprise. And people in the mortgage industry with buying a house, surprises, we all know, are not a fun thing. So keep this in mind going forward. If you'd like to discuss more about initial conversations, or you'd like to, have a conversation about looking at your conversion rates and what you can do to improve them along the way, be happy to talk to you about this moving forward. The simplest way is to reach out to me, Mike, imtcoaching.com. Let's set up a time to talk, and I'll speak to you again next week. Take care.